Is the ZR1 America's new hypercar or America's new hyped up car? Welcome back to another episode of Monstars. I'm your host Z. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Before we get started, I'm going to do 3 shout outs, starting with modified classics. Anybody who sees cars or wants to see cars as an investment, buy their dream car, or even start and sell a collection. Even in today's climate and used car market, subscribe to the channel. They give you all the information and insight that you need to consider when you go through that process. I'm also still waiting on you guys to make a video on the new ZR1, so hurry up, make that video. Second shout out is to Alejandro Flores, aka Theo, for inspiring me to make this video. Now, not that long ago on his podcast, he said that the E-Ray is America's Koenigsegg, and to that, I'd say I agree. Given the fact that it uses technology like the hybrid system to enhance performance on a sports car, and it punches well above its weight and in its car class ideally, and it dominates everything in the American car market currently. It's too good to ignore. And in addition to that, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing a third shout out to Boost District, who make the 1400 horsepower twin turbo E-Ray. So thank you guys for doing all the work you do on the C8 platform, especially on the E-Ray, because if it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be making this video today. So thank you as well. With that being said, the Z06 C8 and the ZR1X are not relevant in this video. I know I triggered you guys even more by saying that. I'll go into depth to that, don't worry. But if you're triggered, clearly you're new to the channel, so be sure to subscribe and welcome. That being said, let's get started. Now, I did look at the weight first and foremost on the E-Ray, and Chevy's website says 3,774 pounds base curb weight. And I thought, what the heck does base curb weight even mean? That to me sounds like a reframe of dry weight. Think back to the Mopar Wars, back when you guys were watching those videos. I mentioned, the Hellcat weight versus the RTs and the V6 versions of those cars, the Chargers and Challengers. But when you look at the weight initially for the Hellcats, they show you the dry weight. But if you look up curb weight, guess what? It's a lot heavier. Ideally, more realistic. Fluids and all the other things are in the car. So I took the average of those 3 weights from Chevy's website articles from Motor Trend and Car and Driver, and we're looking at around 3,922 pounds, right? Keep in mind, the E-Ray runs a 10.5 and a quarter mile stock. And around my area, you can find these anywhere from $108,000 to $126,000. And to put that in perspective, that's about 10 to 15 grand less than a used 650S McLaren in my area too. Now, with that being said, if I'm not mistaken, the E-Ray shares the same LT2 V8 from the C8 base, or the Stingray, right? So let's take the performance upgrade, the power upgrade from Boost District's 720 twin turbo kit, which is about 6 pounds of boost, costs about 25 grand. And if it does, according to their dyno pictures, increase the engine by 237 horsepower and 223 pound-feet of torque, to the wheels. My mistake, to the wheels, not to the engine. And Paragon did a dyno video of the E-Ray, making 537 horsepower to the wheels and 630 pound-feet of torque to the wheels. If we add those together, we're looking at roughly 774 horsepower, 853 pound-feet of torque E-Ray, and that's basically a 9-second car. With the cost of the car and the twin turbo kit, we're looking anywhere from $133,000 to $150,000. If you wanted to get the carbon wheel package, make it a little lighter, 40 pounds lighter, or any aftermarket wheels to make it lighter, yeah, we're creeping into the mid-9s, possibly. It also depends on the tire, right? Now let's talk about the new ZR1. And from what we've seen, it is projected to start at 175 grand. Start at. Keep in mind, we don't know how many they're going to make. So they might even go up in value in a short period of time, or be mic'd up higher too. And they are claimed to running a 9.6 and a quarter mile. This would be their personal best, not the average quarter mile time. Their average times in the real world could be a 9.7, a 9.8, a 9.9, like the modded E-Ray I just discussed. Keep in mind, these can be improved by track prep, surface temperature, sea level, tire, reaction time. There's so many different variables that can affect or even improve your quarter mile times and your average quarter mile time as well, right? That applies to both cars. And of course, like I said, reaction time, which is another way of saying driver skill. So you're going to spend another 20 to 30, maybe even more grand for the same result. Now, let me take a step back. And before I do, like I said, I know some of you are going to mention the ZR1X trying to argue. I'm not going to argue with you, and I'm just going to stop that argument right now. So if you mention, oh, ZR1X, stop it. Over 1,200 horsepower, cool. Again, this is the foundation to Boost District's 1,400 horsepower E-Ray. So you can crank this up, build off of this kit, and you can make more power over time if you want to or need to. And it might not even be necessary, right? So that's out of the way. Now I'll take the step back and talk about the stock E-Ray again. Because there are people who like to drive their Corvettes on a road course, right? Like Road Atlanta, for example. And it does have carbon ceramic brakes, so I imagine it's going to transition over to the ZR1 too. I won't go into depth on this video, but I'll link it in the description below. It's over an hour long, but Road Atlanta track day, a guy drove an E-Ray, and right after that drove a GT2 RS 2018, I believe. A passenger in both cars when he was driving on the track. The fastest lap time at Road Atlanta in an E-Ray, even though like he was cruising, was 1:37. Fastest lap time in the GT2 RS, which visually looked like it was a lot faster, 1:36. So you're telling me that difference between a car that you can get for under $130,000 and a car you can get for over $500,000 to $600,000 is 1 second at Road Atlanta. Stock versus stock. What else do you want me to say? So again, on paper, it's too good to ignore. Now, I'll also in the same breath say that, yes, I have seen videos where, the E-Ray has ran some McLarens and it's not even 720 or 750. It may not even been a 675. And yeah, the McLaren took the W. And that could be because of gearing and better weight distribution because of materials and lack of electronics and things like that. But it was close. And that also doesn't really matter because it's what the aftermarket is there for, right? So which is easier to build, which is more accessible to build between the two cars, the Corvette and the McLaren, of course, the Vette, right? So I keep going back to the same thing. On paper, it's a lot of potential and it's slept on to this day. And going back to the ZR1, we don't know its real world potential yet. Nobody's as great as it's been marketed. And there's some cool videos out there, fun videos out there. There's no true measurements or true calculations that have been shown yet. We don't know how it's going to behave. We don't know how durable or reliable it's going to be, even especially on track. We don't know if there's going to be any cooling issues, any brake failures, any lazy steering or whatever the case might be. I know it's got carbon ceramics too. Maybe they transitioned, from the E-Ray over and that'll be consistent, hopefully, right? All I'm saying is that we don't know yet. And when we do find out, will it be impressive or will it just be like, oh, okay, so it's pretty much the same? Now it comes down to preference. And we all have preferences, right? The ZR1 sounds good. And I like the ZR1 based on the name. It's relatable to me. That's a conversation for another time. And I do think that engine noise does add to the driving experience of the car. It does matter. Now, in the same breath, I will say from a competitive perspective, that car can sound good as long as it's behind me, as long as I'm beating it. So I don't care about it that much. Believe it or not, I agree with both. I understand both, right? Now, this is going to mess with some of your minds a bit more. Bias aside, preference included, which would you rather do? I'll say it again. Bias aside, preference included, which would you rather do? Which would you rather have? Would you rather have the new hotness with the unknown capabilities or the sleeper that could destroy everything around it? Let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, and share. If you don't know, now you know, but do what you want to do.